Alright guys, welcome back again to more Witch from the Holy Night. We're about near concluded the match between Aoko and Toko, especially with the way Aoko is now in her new form, which is like stunningly incredible by the way. And best of all, we got our boy Sojiro back, so I'm happy. So if anything else, we're going to continue on from there guys, and hope you all continue to enjoy. Thank you again for all the love and support, and let's continue on. Alright everyone, welcome back.
まだ青子には無理なのか、それとも今回もひよったのか。大きな操作は避けて小さな操作、自分とあなただけの交換にとどめたようね。あなたは今5分間だけ時間を飛んだことになるわ。仮に遠い未来、この時間を検索できる人がいたとしても、あなただけは誰にも見つけられない。だって時間軸の上にいなかったんですもの。そして同時に青子は自分の時間を上乗せするためにあなたから時間を借り受けた。多分幼年期の時間でしょうね。個人の時間操作は忘却している部分の方が楽だと聞くし。しずきくん、
Should I slow down? Alice asked with her eyes. All Sojiro could do was nod.
つまり2つの奇跡を青子は行使したの。あなたの体の巻き戻しと自分の体の早送りね。しずきくんの時間に介入する際、ついでに10年分の時間を借り受けて未来の自分を持ってきた。だから今瞳子さんを殺そうとしているのは27歳分の時間を持った青崎青子ということになるわ。
What on earth was Alice talking about? Sojiro's expression gave away his thoughts, though the part about Toko made him furrow his brow.
瞳子さんを殺すって青子が。
もう終わってるでしょうけど。
As soon as Alice answered, Sojiro sped off. Kicking up white petals behind him as he ran, the brave boy who defeated a werewolf was back. Alice watched him go. On a snowy night, the same boy ran down Shiroi Nizuka Hill for her, too. Sojiro entered the old school building. Lights flashed and the sounds of destruction exploded around him, threatening to turn the area into a burial ground. Still, he remained focused.
ほら。悪いけれど、やっぱり無駄だったわ、青子。
Her words only reached the white flowers around her. Aoko knew Sojiro too well, so she wanted Alice to stop him. If he tried to interfere in the battle against Toko, she could not protect him this time. But it was too late to celebrate Aoko's judgment now. The girl in black had no intention of going after him. She simply sat for a while, gazing forlornly at the transient flower garden. A storm of magic bullets struck down a hail of lightning blades. A mage's workshop was their home base and last line of defense. It featured an abundance of defensive spells designed to cut down brazen challengers and thieves. The old school building was no exception, painstakingly rigged by the puppet master and rune mage Toko Aozaki. A reflection of her bizarre obsessions, the workshop was set to indiscriminately destroy any intruders.
足止めぐらいは果たせバカモン。
Toko complained as she ran down the hallway, activating her traps along the way. But nothing seemed to work. None of the runes, regardless of their quality or quantity, could slow her sister down. Her reaction speed and ability to predict attacks could only be described as transcendent. Even magic bullets she fired from both her arms were too much, destroying the runes in the very walls that housed them.
それで一人前のつもりか単細胞め。熟成したところで壊すことしかできないとは呆れたな。
As she spat out her words, the ceiling opened, increasing the pressure from the runes. Invisible walls popped up in the hallway. Aoko stopped and swung her right leg upward. Straight toward the ceiling. Her foot cut through the thick air like a knife through butter, shattering the ceiling and the runes along with it.
あんたの方こそいつまで経ってもこの凝り性。
Man, she really got incredibly powerful real fast.
どこもかしこもルーンだらけ。少しは遠慮ってもんがないの？宇宙要塞ばりに改造してんじゃないっての？みんなの思い出の校舎なんだからもっと大切に扱いなさいよね。
The wooden boards along the hallway that had withstood decades of wind and snow were now destroyed. Aoko charged forward. The chaos was inevitable. While Toko's runes cursed living creatures, Aoko's magic bullets destroyed all without prejudice.
優雅さのかけらもない。あんなのが自分の妹だと思うと。
Toko would do anything to change her blood, but there were more pressing matters at hand. The girl rushing her now was not the sister she remembered, but rather a more complete version of her. Toko couldn't afford to let her guard down for a second. But
笑わせる。そんなものが魔法であるものか。
localized time travel. Toko didn't believe that was the true nature of the Aozaki's magic. Aoko's transformation had to be a mere byproduct of true magic. She couldn't make heads or tails out of its depths even with Aoko having achieved it. At the very least, it was not so simple a miracle. After all, the concept of time travel was already made possible through the second magic. Record manipulation, revision of possibilities, and so forth involved the operation of parallel worlds. So, there was no way that could be the fifth magic.
となると、次に出てくる疑問はこれか。青子、貴様、その10年分の時間をどこから持ってきた？あのボンクラからよ。悪い。後で返すんだから、あんたに非難される覚えはありませんけど。
That made sense. There was a bias, but the amount of time on this axis had not been changed. But
では、あの5分間はどうする？まさか私を始末した後、彼を元の状態に戻すのか？
Aoko stopped in her tracks. Toko had took aim at Aoko's glaring oversight. Aozaki magic and Aoko's humanity were inconsistent.
そうだ。時間操作では死者の蘇生は許されない。お前がしたことは一時だけの気休めか。
The magic crests on Toko's back began to demonstrate their true worth. Drawing upon the magical energy stored in the crests, she materialized her largest trap yet in the hallway.
あるいは、より罪深い暴虐ということだ。
3 rune stones appeared. Their scale and level of magical energy were wildly different from the other runes. Created by Toko herself at the Mages Association, they were replicas of one of the lost primordial runes created by a Nordic giant. The 3 tin crystalline lenses amplified her carved rune tens of millions of times. They rendered projectiles like magic bullets ineffective. Even if Aoko's magical output far exceeded Toko's, these giant slabs were several times more powerful still. Aoko's signature magecraft could only release magical energy, so she had no way to defend or evade the attack. Pushing herself on, Aoko took a deep breath of resolve. Instead of defending or dodging, she went low and charged into the rune storm. Infuriated by the realization, Toko set her magic crest to full power. Through repeated second-long bursts of time travel, Aoko was able to avoid the runes completely. She was either sending the attack's impact to a different time, or layering several thousand of herself atop one another. Whatever, no way she could keep up that kind of magical energy output.
1枚目
Aoko kicked the crystal slab to pieces. 2 remained. Distance 30 feet. Toko had 10 seconds of magical energy left, but that was all she needed. Aoko, on the other hand, would stop now if she had any common sense as a mage. She couldn't continue breaking the rules for much longer. Then again, time travel itself was breaking the rules.
Aoko!
Once again, Aoko used the same technique. Toko's suspicion turned into white-hot hatred. She couldn't care less about her time travel formula. It was the amount of magical energy she had. Where was she pulling the energy necessary to jump through time for so long?
やはりそうか。お前は。
It was the death of Sojiro Shizuki. If she had brought him back 5 minutes to when he was still alive, where would those 5 minutes go? Aoko's magic wasn't using parallel worlds to change this one. She had only rewound Sojiro's 5 minutes. Then logically, he'd return to being a corpse as soon as the magic ended. Time travel that didn't change the world couldn't change the past. Therefore, if she wanted to save him, she had to either truly resurrect him, or send those 5 minutes of reality somewhere far away without returning them.
2枚目
Aoko showed no sign of slowing. From behind her crystal barrier, Toko glared at Aoko with disdain.
答えろ、アオコ！貴様、彼の時間をどこにやった？そこにあった熱量の帳尻をどうやって合わせている？そんなの知るか！あいつの時間なら遥かな未来に置いてきたわよ。
15 feet to go. Faced with such madness, Toko wanted to cover her eyes. She put the dead of the present in the distant future. A time paradox would have been more humane. Such an enormous haphazard consumption of heat could not be allowed. After all, time travel alone required a massive amount of energy. Magical energy was required to bring things from somewhere else. At the same time, losing something that exists here consumed an incredible amount of energy. What about the magical energy used for cooling? If either fell off equilibrium, it would mean total chaos. The distortion caused by her magic would come to affect this entire sector of space.
バカ、ここに極まったな。何千億年後に来る宇宙の死滅、人類の行く末に待つデッドエンドにさらなる負債を押し付ける気か。この星の頭上に隕石を作っているようなものだぞ。というか、お前の重みでこの星を押しつぶす気か。
That last comment made Aoko's eyes widen. Her every step exerted such force it broke the floorboards beneath her feet.
その時はその時で、今度は負債を過去に送ってやるわよ。それなら文句ないんでしょ。歪みに潰されるのは過去だけなんだから。それで解決したつもりか。現在が確定している以上、過去を消滅させてもいいと。それでいいのは私たちだけだ。問題の総量、宇宙の負債はどうする？
Exactly. Even if the universe were closed or the present were still expanding, the absurd increase in heat consumption would become uncontrollable. That which waits for the end of infinite expansion, infinite consumption, and infinite growth is a future without hope. The nothingness before creation, Eventually, the universe would burn up.
青子の青崎の魔法はその結末をより確かなものにするだけだ。その責任をお前は。
言われなくても分かってる。責任なんて私が生きてる間に何とかするわよ。
5 feet to go. The rune blast, now carrying all of Toko's hatred, focused into a scorching hot laser beam. Her body being torn into by the intense heat and her emotions raging, Aoko drove her foot into the ground.
責任を取ると言ったな。ではその具体案は。
そんなのこれから考えるに決まってるでしょ。
お前は最悪だ。
Toko's last defense was shattered. Close enough to connect the two mages unleashed their magecraft. Red runes, blue ether. In a cascade of magic bullets, Toko Aozaki's crest were torn into pieces, and so was Toko herself. It was just as Alice said. By the time Sojiro arrived, it was already over. The old school building's wooden boards had survived the elements for decades, but they were not ready for a mage duel. The entrance door hung off its hinges. The floorboards groaned. The stairs were ready to collapse underfoot. Toko's escape and Aoko's pursuit had left a trail of destruction leading all the way to the second floor. The chaos continued to the end of the hallway, by the stairs to the third floor. Toko sat in a heap with her back against the wall. Despite her injuries, she kept her eyes firmly on Aoko. She was bleeding internally and had multiple broken bones. She would not be moving anytime soon. Possibly damaged by Aoko's flying kick, her mystic eyes had ruptured from within, closing them indefinitely. Despite her battered and broken body, she was still breathing steadily, a testament to her stubbornness. Before her stood Aoko, staring down at her, uninjured.
屋上までは持つと思っていたんだが。
Toko was not trying to be facetious. She sounded genuinely disappointed. Aoko responded with a cold glare. Her azure eyes had not changed one bit. They were callous as ever, yet undeniably beautiful. From where she stood, Aoko held her hand out toward Toko. Like a hunter about to put a wounded prey out of its misery. The victor was decided. The mage came to steal land and got a death sentence for her trouble. The silence was disquieting. Moonlight peered through the demolished ceiling, illuminating the two sisters with its stare. The utterly mad sibling squabble was over. Now the fireworks were finished. And the cold wind had returned to claim the old school building.
何か言い残すことはある？
Aoko's voice cut through the silence. Toko thought for a moment, before lightly patting her coat pocket. Nothing, she frowned.
最後に一服と思ったが、あいにくお前を待っている間に吸い切ってしまってね。日本のタバコはうますぎていけない。
Aoko gave a small nod.
なかなか常人には真似できない遺言だったわ。
待て待て。いくら私でも遺言まで謎かけをする気はないよ。お望み通り、敗者は敗者らしく当倍を上げるから聞くといい。
Toko's voice was laden with sarcasm, but not hostility or hatred. Perhaps her vendetta was not directed at Aoko herself, but rather a product of two sisters born into a mage family.
青崎の魔法が時間旅行に端を発するものとは思わなかった。 まだ事情がありそうだが、当事者ではない私には何ともね。ボンプにはわからない悩みだ。せいぜい大事に付き合っていけばいいさ。しかし10年経ってもそれでは先が思いやられる。アリスは何をしていたんだか。
アリスにしてはよく付き合ってくれた方よ。魔術師としてはいつまでも半人前っていうのが彼女の結論。けどまあそうね、あの狼とならいい勝負をしたんじゃない？
あれはダメだ。敗北を知ってしまった。もう完全じゃない。半人前に値で勝っていようが、魔法の前には特異性を見失うだろう。ところで青子、お前の魔法とやらは手段か、それとも結果か。
Toko wanted to know if it came before or came after. Did Aoko need magic to get her where she needed to go? Or did she obtain magic as a result of reaching that place?
あとよ、私は扉の前で尻尾を巻いたからジジイの思惑なんて知らないけど。
第一魔法と同じ経緯か。ますます業が深い。第2から第4はその場所へ到達するために生み出されたものと聞く。同族嫌悪は世の常だ。いずれ第一と食い合わなければいいのだがね。しかし扉ときたか。魔法の継承とはパスの継承のようだな。ではやはりここにユミルの入り口があると。
北欧かぶれのあなたにとってはね、私にとってはアカシャの門と言えるものよ。最初からそれを狙っていたんでしょ、あなたは。
Toko used every ounce of strength she could find to nod.
望めば手に入るというのに何台も待つのは嫌だったんだ。ソフトはそれで決別したようなものだったよ。青崎に対する復讐心はそれには優先されなかった。まあ全ては終わったことだ。もう語る必要はない。最後に根源に触れた感想が聞きたいな。
Toko spoke after taking a deep breath. Her last words showed no trace of hatred. Aoko remained silent as she began raising her right hand up high. She recalled her grandfather's orders, the source of true magic. Revealing one's knowledge or impressions of the root was strictly forbidden. But this was her sister's dying wish. Maybe it would be okay. The conversation would end the moment she brought her arm down. Then, this rotting shell of a building would become her sibling's tomb. What harm could it do? And it's not like she planned to follow her grandfather's rules anyway.
白状するとね、姉さん。
Aqua's voice carried through the blue hallway.
正直、全然わからなかったわ。
Aqua gave a blunt reply and brought her arm down like a bolt of lightning. Or at least, she tried to. Her arm wouldn't listen to her. It wouldn't budge.
何のつもり？
Cursing Alice, Aoko spat her question out with venom. Sojiro materialized from behind, taking hold of her raised arm. Though unable to express it, Toko was shocked to see him too.
手、離して。
Without looking at him, or even at her restrained hand, Aoko spoke sternly, her eyes forward. Come to think of it, at the amusement park, he appeared out of nowhere to protect her from that puppet.
聞こえなかった。二度はないわよ。
She was not bluffing. If he interfered, even he would be given no mercy. I've decided to let you live. It would go against that promise, but he should know better. Even so, he maintained his grip on her arm.
いい加減に。
As Aoko turned around, the word toad caught in her throat. She immediately regretted looking at him. She saw herself in his expression. Mournful sadness. Judgmental anger. His conflicting emotions spoke to her of her own internal struggle. Voicelessly, quietly, without volition, rusted gray eyes questioning a deep sin.
言いたいことがあるならはっきり口にしなさい。それができないなら消えて。
Sojiro gently released Aoko's arm as she maintained her resolve. They locked eyes, neither friend nor foe. Their bitterness clashed without words. And then suddenly,
人殺しはいけないことだ。
Sojiro stated in that matter-of-fact way of his with which Aoko had become all too familiar. His words were empty, trite even. And yet, given her current state, they reached her. Although she would soon forget the fragments of Sojiro's memories, they made her painfully aware of how he felt. Still, she could not agree with him. It would come back to bite her. If she let Toko go now, her sister would come for her again. She had already made 2 attempts on her life. Aoko did not have it in her to forgive her sister for what she had done. Above all, just as Toko said, if Aoko did not change, she would be a novice forever. She had not even won her first mage battle yet, and she knew putting down a blood relative would require even more conviction. Nevertheless, his words echoed over and over in her heart. Murder is wrong. Such a childish phrase, but the earnestness with which he said it, it was enough to make her sick. Resisting, Aoko glowered at Sojiro.
だから殺されたくせにその相手までかばうっていうのあんたは。元気になったら懲りずにやってくる殺人鬼が相手でも見逃してやれっていうの。
まさかそこまで言ったら聖者だ。自分にはそこまでのことは言えない。
But he would probably still let her go. He did not think that Toko would change. He also did not care to rationalize her actions based on her life. He was simply thankful. Thankful that this person before him was still alive. You seem pretty damn saintly to me. That was what had made Aoko so angry. His overwhelming innocence and self-righteousness enraged her, like the Hall of Mirrors was happening all over again. The only difference was now she knew why he was acting like this. It was because she had taken a part of him. He took a step forward, passing by her, saying words he knew he should not.
仕返しなら殺された人間がやるのが筋だろう。君を止められないのは分かってる。だから青崎がやるぐらいなら俺がやる。
It was difficult to discern who was the more pathetic in all this. Toko, who had been staring at them the whole time, closed her other eye as if drifting off to sleep.
ごめんなさい、トウコさん。
Knowing her fate, Toko dropped her head as best she could as he walked toward her.
そうだな。君にはそれもいいかもしれない。今は特殊な状況だから、冷めた後に君がどれほど悔やむことになるか想像もできない。ただ、それで君の停滞は終わるだろう。晴れてみそぎ落としというわけだ。純粋に祝福してあげられる。気に食わないのは、それを決意させたのが私ではなかったということぐらいか。
She knew that Sojiro could not understand. Her words hanging in the air, she closed her lips tightly. Then weakly, stuck out her slender neck. Sojiro took another step forward. Before he could do anything, Aoko moved. Spinning in front of Sojiro, she cut off her magical energy and swung her hand as hard as she could. The sound of her slapping his face echoed through the hall along with his staggering steps.